This is the DJI Avata 360, DJI's first 360-degree drone and only the second of its kind to be released in this category of drones. And this thing is impressive. Now, earlier this year, I released a video on the Antigravity A1 drone, the first 360 consumer drone to be released. And while I didn't intend on this video being a direct comparison between the two, it's impossible for me not to compare the two as they're the only two 360-degree drones on the market. Quick note, no one paid me for this video. It's not sponsored. I bought both the A1 and the Avata 360 drones with my own money just because I love drones and I love testing out new gear. Okay, let's get into the Avata 360. When I first started watching the creator videos on the Avata 360, I thought to myself, damn, this thing solves nearly every issue that I had with the A1. And I'll get into each of those issues shortly. But after using this drone for a couple of months now, while I do think this drone solved a lot of the issues that the A1 had, there are still a couple of things that I do think the A1 does better. Now, let's first start off with the specs of the Avata 360. This thing shoots up to 8K 60 with dual 1-inch sensors. Now, again, because this is 360-degree footage, 8K is the entire 360 degrees, and when you frame into a 16:9 shot, the resolution is much less depending on how tight you crop. This is the case for all 360-degree footage, but it's just something to be aware of because the resolution will be a lot less than on a dedicated 4K camera like the Mini 5 Pro, for example. One thing that the Avata 360 has done, which I think is really cool, is that the camera rotates, which means that when you take off and land, the camera isn't actually on the bottom of the drone, so it protects it from getting scratched. However, if you do scratch it for whatever reason, there are replaceable lenses just like there are on the A1. I would still also recommend getting a launch pad because it protects it even further, but that also comes with the Flymore kit, but we'll get into that later when we talk about the combos. What this rotating camera also means is that you have another shooting option now. So rather than only shooting in 360 degrees, if you rotate the camera, you can now shoot in single lens mode, which is the equivalent of shooting in 4K. If you put the camera in single lens mode, it kind of looks and feels like an FPV shot, which is a really cool feature and a really cool option to have to get some variety in your shots. Now, one obvious difference between the A1 and the Avata 360 are the drone bodies. The A1 is a fold-up standard drone similar to the DJI Mini lineup, and the Avata 360 is in a Cinewoop body like the other DJI Avata FPV drones. What this means practically though is that the Avata is more than 250 grams, which means that in most places in the world, you need to register it and have a license in order to fly it. Whereas the A1 is under 250 grams, so you don't need a license to fly it. Okay, let's talk about some of the things that I think the Avata 360 solved from the A1. The first and the most obvious one is the transmission signal. A lot of people have been complaining about the A1 and how shoddy the transmission signal can be, and I experienced this myself and I talked about it in the video that I made about the A1. Like I said in the video that I made about the A1, it mostly resolved itself when I moved into more open areas, but when I was flying in dense urban areas, I did receive a lot of choppy footage out of the A1. With the Avata 360, or any DJI drone for that matter, I've never experienced this. I think it's because DJI has been in this game for so long, they've just figured out the transmission. I didn't do a test for how far away I can fly this drone, but I've flown kilometers away with all of my DJI drones and I've never had any issues with signal. The second leg up that the Avata has over the A1, in my opinion, is the video quality. It shoots in 10-bit D-Log-M, whereas the A1 shoots in normal mode only and only in 8-bit. And the quality difference is noticeable, at least it is to me and probably is for anyone who shoots a lot of video. For the hobbyist or for someone who knows nothing about cameras, I'm sure the A1 looks fine to them. And it's not like the A1 has terrible footage, it's just when you compare it side by side with the Avata 360, it's not even comparable. Don't get me wrong, the A1 footage is still totally usable, but it's just yeah, it's just not the same. Okay, this next win for the Avata 360 is really cool, and it's the peripherals, or the way that you fly the drone. You have 3 options currently to fly the Avata 360. You can use a motion controller and the goggles similar to how you can fly the A1, or you can use the FPV controller and the goggles. You should be aware though that you can't fly this thing in fully acro mode even when you're using the FPV controller. I think it has something to do with just the design of the Avata 360, the weight balance or whatever. But again, you can't fly it in full acro mode, full manual mode. You can only fly it in like normal mode. I think this is something that has confused a lot of people, and it did for me at first when I saw the Avata 360 come out, because it has that Avata Sinew body style and it looks like an FPV drone. So I think a lot of people, including myself, were a little disappointed when I found out that I couldn't fly this thing in full manual mode. Not that I know how to fly in full manual mode, but I thought it would be a cool option to have to learn how to fly FPV and also get the 360-degree drone. It would kind of be like an all-in-one drone, in my opinion. But it is what it is. You can't fly this thing in full acro mode. Your last option to fly this thing is using an RC2 controller. So if you have an RC controller that you've been using to fly like a Mini 5 Pro, for example, you can buy just the drone. You don't have to buy the controller. You don't have to buy the headset. You don't have to buy the goggles, any of that. You can just buy the drone, and then you can pair it with the RC2 controller that you already have, which is really smart in my opinion. And it's a really good way to market this to people who don't want to spend a ton of money on a full package when they already have some of the peripherals from some of their other drones, and they're purchasing this as a second drone. A couple things to note about the goggles headset combo. The goggles that come with the Avata 360 are the DJI Goggles N3, not the Goggles 3. So the quality, apparently, I don't know, I haven't tried the Goggles 3, but apparently the quality out of these, the N3s, are a lot less in the Goggles 3. Again, like they're okay, but I haven't used the Goggles 3, so I have really nothing to compare it to other than the A1. In my opinion, this is a win for the A1. When you use the A1 goggles and then you put on the Goggles N3 from DJI, I don't think it's comparable. The experience that you get out of using the A1 goggles, it does feel like you're a bird in the sky, whereas the N3, like, they're usable, it looks fine, but it just doesn't give you the same immersive experience. The quality on the A1 goggles is a lot better, a lot clearer, a lot brighter. I think they use OLED screens inside, whereas these don't. And so it's just, they're for different things, I think. The first time that I used the A1 with the goggles, I was blown away by the experience. And when I put these on and I fly the drone, I don't really get the same experience. The quality of the video that comes out is a lot better on the DJI, but the experience that you get while you're flying it is just not as good. The one nice thing, however, about flying with the Goggles N3 versus using the A1 goggles is that the battery is built into the back of these goggles. You don't have to wear a separate lanyard around your neck for the battery like you do with the A1. So that's nice in my opinion. The motion controller from the A1 and the Avata 360 are similar. However, with the Avata 360 motion controller, you can also fly backwards, which you can't do with the A1s. In my opinion, the experience of using this whole setup on DJI for me was a little bit easier because it feels like every other DJI drone that I've ever flown. Whereas the A1, it was the first A1, the first anti-gravity drone that's ever been made. So you kind of have to learn the whole user interface, how to change settings and everything. It was a whole new experience. It's a good experience, but I just didn't know how to use it, and so it took a little bit longer to get used to it. Going back to the FPV controller, while you can't fly this thing in full acro mode, I've been flying with this thing a lot with the goggles. I'm not a huge fan of using the motion controller. I like using the goggles, and the FPV controller was kind of like an in-between between flying and with the RC2 controller versus flying with the motion controller and the goggles, if that makes sense. You kind of get more of like a immersive experience. You kind of feel like you're flying FPV a little bit, even though you're not, but it's a lot of fun. I would definitely recommend doing it if you already have this controller. Okay, moving on to editing the 360-degree footage. Now, because it is 360-degree footage, there is an extra step, obviously, to get that footage from the drone to like your Resolve or your Premiere Pro. And this is where DJI's editing software comes in. Very similar to how Antigravity has the A1 Studio, DJI has the DJI Studio. You can do very similar things. You can add keyframes, you can add transitions, You can change the field of view, you can rotate, do all kinds of things. Like I said, the two softwares are very similar. I think the A1's is a little bit cleaner in my opinion, a little bit more smooth. I had more trouble getting used to using the DJI Studio than I did the A1 Studio, but it's very close. Obviously, because the Avata 360 has the option to shoot in D-Log-M, you can also add LUTs. But aside from that, the two softwares between A1 and the DJI are very, very similar. All right, getting to price, and I think this is what makes the DJI Avata 360 so interesting compared to the A1. Because DJI made the Avata 360 compatible with a lot of the other peripherals that are already on the market, like I said before, it gives people that already have other drones and have those peripherals an option to get the Avata 360 for pretty cheap. So for example, if you already have the DJI Mini 5 Pro and the RC2 controller, you can actually pick up just the DJI Avata 360 drone for only $450 US, which is crazy in my opinion for a drone as good as this. Now, if you don't have another drone and you want to pick it up as a Fly More combo, kind of like how they sell all their other drones, there's two versions of the Fly More combo. There's the Fly More combo that comes with the batteries, the landing pad, the goggles, and the motion controller. But then there's also the same Fly More combo, but instead of the motion controller and the goggles, it comes with the RC2 controller. And both of these are priced at $929 US, which in my opinion is still a pretty good price for everything that you're getting in this combo. If you compare that to how much it costs to get the A1 and how much I paid for the A1, it's a little bit disappointing. When the A1 first came out, I paid over $2,000 Canadian dollars. Now it's on sale, so you can get it for much cheaper, but it's still a lot more expensive to get the A1 than it is the Avata 360. Let me just check how much it costs to get the A1 right now. So right now you can get the Infinity bundle for the A1, which comes with the motion controller, the goggles, the extra batteries, all that stuff, and it's 1,800 Canadian, which if you convert that to US dollars, it's still $1,300 US. So it's still like 50% more expensive to buy the A1 versus buying the Avata 360, even if you get the Fly More combo, which is crazy. Again, you can get just the drone for only $450 US. Okay, so to sum it up, who do I think this drone is for, and is it a good buy? Now, I don't really think a 360-degree drone is anyone's like first drone that they should ever buy. I think if it's your first drone ever, you're probably better off getting a drone in the Mini series, which is exactly what I did. I think I got the Mini 3 was the first drone I ever got, upgraded to the Mini 4 Pro, now the Mini 5 Pro, and then this is an addition on top of it. I don't think it's wrong to get it as a first drone, but there's just a lot more things to learn if you're flying it with a joystick and a headset and everything. It's a lot easier to learn how to fly a mini series drone. You also don't need to do anything in the editing software. You can just take the footage straight out of the drone and upload it to social media or wherever you're using it. There isn't that added step of editing the footage if you don't know how to edit footage. But again, I think this is a great drone. It's a great price point. Honestly, there's really no reason I could recommend the A1 over the Avata 360 when you look at the price. If you look at it holistically, I think the only thing that the A1 beats the Avata in that's like anything substantial is the experience. It's a lot cooler to fly the A1, and you can pass the headset off to someone who hasn't been in the location that you flew it, and it feels a lot cooler for them to experience that flight again with the A1 goggles. But it's a pretty steep extra amount of price to pay for something that's worse in every other category. So out of 360-degree drones, I would definitely recommend getting the Avata 360. I would say the only real bummer to the Avata 360 over the A1 is the fact that you need to have a license and you need to register it in order to fly it. That being said, the certification, everyone makes it out to be like it's some big deal. In Canada anyways, it's a test that you take online. It's really easy. It costs very little. And so it's not a huge deterrent, I think, for people to not get this drone. All right, that's it for this video. I hope it was helpful. If it was, and you want to keep seeing stuff like this, be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss out on my next video. And I'll see you guys in the next one.